A small white church stands alone on a quiet street in Anadarko, Oklahoma. The morning sun casts long shadows through its windows, but inside lies a scene that would forever haunt this peaceful community. On August 23rd, 2009, what should have been a regular Sunday service became the site of one of Oklahoma's most disturbing unsolved murders. Hey, true crime enthusiasts, before we dive deeper into this chilling case, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Join our community of truth seekers as we explore some of history's most perplexing mysteries. The Christ Holy Sanctified Church wasn't just any building in Anadarko, it was Pastor Carol Daniels' calling. Every Sunday, she would drive 60 miles from her home in Oklahoma City to serve her congregation, no matter how small the attendance. But on this particular Sunday, someone was waiting for her with sinister intentions. The clock struck 10 a.m. Police officers conducted a welfare check after concerned parishioners couldn't locate Pastor Daniels. What they discovered inside would shake even the most seasoned investigators to their core. The 61-year-old pastor's body was positioned in a crucifix position, her clothes torn, with deep cuts across her neck, chest, and back. If you're finding this case as intriguing as it is disturbing, consider giving this video a thumbs up. It helps more people discover these important stories that deserve to be told. The crime scene was meticulously cleaned with bleach, leaving investigators with limited physical evidence. The killer had taken extraordinary measures to cover their tracks, suggesting this wasn't a crime of opportunity. This was planned. But who would want to harm a beloved pastor? Carol Daniels was known throughout her community as a woman of unwavering faith. A graduate of Oklahoma City University, she had dedicated her life to serving others. Her daughter, Rhonda Daniels, described her as a person who never met a stranger, someone who would help anyone in need. The brutality of the crime sent shockwaves through Anadarko, a town of roughly 6,600 people. The Native American art capital of Oklahoma wasn't used to such violence, especially not within the walls of a church. The fact that it happened on a Sunday morning, in broad daylight, only added to the community's fear and disbelief. Hey friends, if you're as invested in uncovering the truth about this case as I am, make sure you're subscribed. We'll be diving even deeper into the investigation in just a moment. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, OSBI, took charge of the case. They discovered that the killer had not only cleaned the crime scene, but had also positioned Pastor Daniels' body in a way that seemed to mock her faith. The staging of the scene suggested this wasn't just a murder, it was a message. Investigators interviewed hundreds of people, collected countless pieces of evidence, and pursued every lead they could find. But with each passing day, the trail grew colder. The bleach used to clean the scene had destroyed crucial DNA evidence, leaving detectives with few forensic clues to work with. The details that emerged from the investigation painted an increasingly disturbing picture. The medical examiner's report revealed that Pastor Daniels had suffered multiple stab wounds and cuts that appeared to have been inflicted with surgical precision. This wasn't a crime of passion. It showed signs of methodical planning. If you're just joining us on this tragic journey, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Together, we can keep these cases alive in our collective memory and perhaps help bring justice to victims like Carol. The OSBI agents were particularly troubled by several aspects of the crime scene. The killer had not only positioned Pastor Daniels' body in a specific way, but had also taken steps to stage the scene. The cleaning with bleach wasn't random. It was systematic, suggesting someone with knowledge of forensic countermeasures. The timeline became crucial to investigators. Pastor Daniels had arrived at the church around 9:10 a.m., as confirmed by surveillance footage from a nearby business. By 10 a.m., when concerned parishioners called the police, the crime had already been committed and the perpetrator had fled. This gave investigators a narrow window of approximately 50 minutes during which the murder took place. Speaking of the investigation, if you're finding value in this deep dive into one of Oklahoma's most perplexing cases, consider hitting that like button. It helps our community grow and ensures these stories reach those who might have information to share. The small town of Anadarko became the center of intense police activity. Investigators conducted door-to-door interviews, set up tip lines, and offered a substantial reward for information leading to an arrest. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation initially offered $10,000, which was later increased as the case gained more attention. What made the case particularly challenging was the lack of apparent motive. Nothing was stolen from the church or Pastor Daniels' person. Her car remained untouched in the parking lot. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This was something far more sinister. The community response was overwhelming. Church leaders from across Oklahoma came together to support the investigation and Pastor Daniels' family. The Christ Holy Sanctified Church, once a symbol of peace and worship, became a reminder of an unthinkable tragedy. The building was eventually demolished in 2011, erasing the physical reminder of the crime, but not the memory of Pastor Daniels. Before we continue with the fascinating developments in this case, take a moment to join our true crime family by subscribing. Your support helps us continue sharing these important stories. The ripple effects of Pastor Daniels' murder extended far beyond Anadarko. Churches across Oklahoma began implementing new security measures. Some small congregations started requiring two pastors to be present during services. The case highlighted the vulnerability of religious leaders, particularly in isolated or rural locations. The OSBI continued to pursue leads, but each one seemed to lead to a dead end. They looked into similar crimes in the region, interviewed known offenders, and even consulted with FBI behavioral analysts to develop a profile of the killer. The profile suggested someone familiar with the area, possibly with a connection to the church or religious institutions. Local media kept the story alive, running anniversary pieces each year. Pastor Daniels' daughter, Rhonda, became an advocate for solving cold cases, regularly speaking about her mother's case and the impact of unsolved murders on victims' families. As we enter the final chapter of this haunting case, the questions still far outweigh the answers. Even today, more than a decade later, the murder of Pastor Carol Daniels remains one of Oklahoma's most disturbing unsolved cases. Before we delve into the latest developments, if you've stayed with us this far and haven't already subscribed, now is the perfect moment to join our true crime community. Your support helps keep these cases in the public eye. The OSBI has never closed the case. In fact, they've continued to receive tips and investigate new leads well into the 2020s. Each piece of evidence has been periodically reviewed with advancing technology, hoping that new forensic techniques might reveal what the bleach-clean crime scene couldn't tell investigators in 2009. In 2019, on the 10th anniversary of the murder, investigators revealed previously undisclosed details about the case. They confirmed that security cameras from nearby businesses had captured potential persons of interest, though the footage quality from 2009 technology made positive identification challenging. Advanced video enhancement techniques have been applied to these recordings, frame by frame, in hopes of uncovering new details. The behavioral profile of the killer has been refined over the years. Investigators now believe the perpetrator had intimate knowledge of church operations and possibly religious practices. The positioning of Pastor Daniels' body, the timing of the attack, and the methodical cleanup all point to someone who may have had experience with religious ceremonies or church protocols. The case has become a focal point for cold case investigators across Oklahoma. The peculiar aspects of the crime, the broad daylight timing, the church location, the ritualistic elements, have made it a case study in criminal justice courses. Law enforcement agencies have used it to improve their protocols for preserving evidence at clean crime scenes. Pastor Daniels' daughter, Rhonda, has never given up hope for justice. In recent interviews, she's spoken about how the case has inspired changes in church security nationwide. Her mother's story has become a catalyst for implementing safety measures in small, rural churches across America. What happened at the Christ Holy Sanctified Church that Sunday morning has likely prevented similar tragedies through increased awareness and security protocols. The investigation has led to significant changes in how law enforcement handles similar cases. The OSBI has developed new procedures for processing crime scenes where cleaning agents have been used. They've also enhanced their protocols for preserving evidence in cases with religious or ritualistic elements. The reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction has grown substantially over the years, now standing at $40,000. The increase reflects both the community's ongoing commitment to solving the case and law enforcement's determination to bring the killer to justice. Investigators continue to explore several theories about the killer's identity. They believe the person likely had ties to the Anadarko area, though they may have moved away following the murder. The level of planning involved suggests someone who had observed Pastor Daniel's routine and knew the layout of the church intimately. The timing of the murder early Sunday morning has led investigators to believe the killer might have been someone familiar with church schedules and customs. They might have known that Pastor Daniels would be alone at that time, making her vulnerable despite the daylight hours. The murder of Pastor Carol Daniels has left an indelible mark on Oklahoma's criminal justice landscape. Her case has become a landmark in the study of church security, forensic evidence preservation, and cold case investigation techniques. While the physical church building may be gone, demolished in 2011, the impact of what happened there continues to influence how law enforcement and religious institutions approach security. Pastor Daniels' legacy lives on through the changes her case has inspired. Churches across America have implemented buddy systems, security cameras, and check-in protocols. Her story has become a powerful reminder of the vulnerability of religious leaders and the importance of community vigilance. Today, someone out there still holds the key to solving this case. Whether it's a remembered detail that seemed unimportant at the time, or knowledge that's been kept secret for years, it's never too late for justice. The OSBI continues to maintain an active tip line, and all information is treated confidentially. If you have any information about the murder of Pastor Carol Daniels, no matter how insignificant it might seem, please contact the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation at their tip line. Your information could be the missing piece that brings closure to this haunting case. Carol Daniels was more than a pastor. She was a mother, a friend, and a pillar of her community. Her brutal murder remains a stark reminder that evil can strike in the most sacred of places, but it also shows how a community can come together in the face of tragedy. While her killer remains at large, her story continues to impact lives and inspire change. Until next time, stay safe, stay vigilant, and remember, no case is truly cold as long as we keep talking about it. This has been The Silent Sanctuary, the brutal murder of Pastor Carol Daniels.